بشكر بيت الثقافة والفنون على الانفيتيشن، والأخت سهيلة على كل الشغل اللي سوته. appreciate it. بشكر الإخوان والأخوات اللي شرفونا. بشكر جاكوب من المارجج كمباني for coming on a short notice. Jennifer from title company, same thing on a short notice. Khalid from remodeling, أشرف التصوير, and I forgot, Nadia's here from the tax prep. So we're going to get into this. By the time, hopefully, we finish, you will have enough knowledge about real estate, about how to enter into the market for real estate. If you're buying, or you're selling, or you're getting into investment. So let's get busy and start talking about it and get to the most important stuff. We're going to talk about buyers to start with, and first home-time buyers. The number one thing that you need to do when you get in the market of real estate, you must get pre-approved from the bank or the lender. You need to get that letter. You cannot go start shopping for a house saying, I need $1 million home, and you're qualified for $750. You need to know what that number is. So as an agent or any agent that you work with, they will know what house you need to look at. Oh, I want to look at $1 million. You can't. You're pre-qualified for $750. We're going to be in that range. That's one of the most important things after you do your interview with your real estate agent. When you do an interview with a real estate agent, I got some of people that here that they worked with me before. So you have to build the trust, you have to build the love, and you need somebody that's going to be working for you and working for you to be protected throughout the whole transaction. It takes a lot of people to get a transaction done. It's not only the agent. There is over 20 people involved in this transaction. You got your lender, you got your title. Title got 3 other people. Jacob got 4 or 5 other people working with them. Everyone have a certain people that work with them, and everyone work for you through me or through your agent to make sure your transactions 100% goes to closing, and you are protected for the rest of your life as long as you own that house. I will have Jacob explain that about the lending. I'll have Jennifer talk about it in the title. Why do you need that stuff? I will have Khalid talk about the stuff that he does for us when we have a house that goes in the market, or we're buying a house for a client and they need to do certain things. He does that very well. Nadia will talk to you about what tax advantages you have when you go through a loan, especially if you're going into investment. You need to know all that stuff. Ashraf does a hell of a job with the photos. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Who I'm forgetting? I know I'm forgetting somebody. Okay, I'm not forgetting anybody. So for a first home buyer, how many of you do not own a home yet? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, very good. So do you know how many programs are out there to help you when you get your lending to qualify for an assistant if you do not have enough money to put as a down payment or as closing? There is over 192 different programs. Each lender will do the best that they can to work with you and get you to that level, so you will have the house that you want. Being pre-qualified with a lender, it's one of the best things that you're going to have. You have that letter, you'll have it for 90 days. You and your family need to have a sit down, talk about what really you need for your new home. Do you want a townhouse? Do you want a single family house? Do you want a farmhouse? Do you want a beach house? Whatever it is, you guys need to come to an agreement. I have a rule when I go out with clients to show them homes, and Khalil could attest to that last week. Men do not make the decision to buy a house. The lady of the house does. If she tells me to go for something, I will go for it. If Jawad came to me and said, oh, I like the house, could you call your wife, please, and have her come and see it? Because you know what happened? She would kind of like, what the hell are you talking? This is not the house I want. He's happy with it because the basement is nice, but she wants something. The ladies want an open kitchen. They want bigger room for their kids. They want a basement so they will not see their husbands or their kids. Either way, that's the way it works. So they make the decision. I'll try to get them what they want. They give me the description. They give me the location. You cannot say you want a house in Ashburn and the next day you call me you want something in Haymarket. You need to be precise on where do you want to live. If you decide that, hey, I'm moving my job, so we're moving there, it's fine. But you tell me that I want to look in Ashburn, then I want to look in Winchester. Let's make sure that all the family, everybody involved in the transaction, they're on the same line. This is what you want, this is what you're going to get, and this is the area you're going to live in. You're going to travel, you work at home, it's up to you. So working with an agent, like I say, interview your agent, give him all the information that you can, and he will give you the information back that you need. We work very hard on finding what you need every single day. We have a system that we pay a lot of money for so we could search these houses. You see houses on Zillow, you see them on Redfin, on Trilla, everything. I pay for it. We have the MLS. We pay for it to put our own houses, and they steal them and put them in theirs. The government, I guess it's fine, they're fine with it, but we pay for it. I put the houses on there, they take them and they put them out there for their agent. Don't care. Mine is mine, and theirs whatever they want to do. So work with your agent, trying to understand how much work they could do for you. Like I said, the number two is your lender need to understand every single. You cannot give me a phone, call me and say, my credit is 800. Jacob, how much is the credit? Most of the people, it's not 800. And that's one thing. They think it's okay. If I tell you it's 800, I'm going to get in the car and go take somebody to. It doesn't work that anymore. Right now, rules are changing. You need to be exact. Jacob's job or the lender, that's their job. They tell me, hey, you could go show them $1 million home. And Jacob could say, you could go 250, take them all the way to Winchester. But you want $1 million home. But unfortunately, you think you're going to do that, but you're not. So we need to be honest about it. It's a transaction. It takes 30 days from the day you find your home to finish it. But if you want to start looking at $1 million home and you only could afford 300, it's going to take a couple of years to get there. You need to get a promotion, win the lottery, talk to Jawad, he will give you the money, whatever. So find the house, look at the house, figure out what the family wants. Some people like houses with the bedroom, master bedroom on the first floor because you're owning something that your parents are going to come and visit you. They cannot go up the stairs. That's what you want. We're going to go find you that. Not every house have them, but there is houses that they will have. After you find the house, you like it, you are the one going to be living in there. This is what you want. We're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation. We're going to put an offer. The house is listed at $750. I'm going to go and search the market for that house and around it, how much each house sold for. I'm going to do the comps. Every house is completely different. Don't tell me that your neighbor house sold for $950 and it's bigger than your house. And don't tell me that the neighbor down the road sold for $1.5 million. There is a system that I put the house that we're looking at, put it in there, get the comps from each house that sold in the last 3 months, and figure out what your house that you're paying for, is it worth the $750, number one? Is it worth more than $750? If it's worth more than $750, I'm very happy to go and put there. But there, with this market that we have in here, $750, and it's worth more, the agent did his work, he want more offer. The house is worth $810. I am not going to go put a $750 offer in there, and I know it's going to be 30 other offers in there, getting all the way to $800. There is many stories that this is what agents do. They study the area. I had a gentleman that just bought a house that Jacob helped. The house was listed for $775. Every house in that neighborhood sold over $8. I had the biggest competition in the area. I was working with some big shot real estate agent, and I saw them because there was lines, people going to go see the house. I did my due diligence. I worked on it. I knew what the house is going to sell for. I beat some of the best in the market that they've been doing this for over 30 years by $10. That's where my offer went. 805.10. He had 84.99. I got the house because that's what I knew what the market is, and that's what the seller wants. I did talk to the seller because he was there when I went to see the house. I knew what he was looking for. So there is many things that we do. We try to figure out, you're not going to spend a whole bunch of money on a house that's not worth it. You will spend some money on a house that it's worth it in the market. Okay, after we do the contract, we send it to the agent. They approve that, says, okay, we are ratified. That means they are accepting our offer. We're going to schedule an inspection. We're going to call our lender and say, hey, we're scheduling the inspection. We have a contract. Please do your paperwork, do the thing that you do good, and let's schedule an appraisal. Inspection and appraisal, financing, HOA, that's all that stuff that comes in after you put the offer. If the inspection is good, very good for us. But if there is some issue with it, we're going to take that report and we're going to read it, dissect it, and figure out what's the most important stuff in it that we need to fix. They could fix it for us, or they could give us credit for it and we will fix it. That's one thing. Appraisal. If the house appraised for $730, I'm not paying $750. I know I put the contract $750, but I have an appraisal. It says the house is worth $730. I'm going to call that agent and say, hey, your house is worth $730,000. You're going to cut back the price to $20,000 or we're walking away. Most owners, they're going to say, oh, no. Go ahead and go for it. Financing, that's where your lender comes in. They work very hard on getting from, remind me please, processor, underwriter, and a whole bunch of other people that they go through the paper. He does most of the work, but there's other people in the backseat doing other work, searching everything, all the way till the day that you sign on the dotted line that that's your house. If anything happened with your job the day before, they would know about it. If you sneeze, they will know about it probably. So they do a really good job, because after what happened in 2008, everybody want to make sure that they're protected. The bank's protected, the new owner protected, the old owner is protected. Title company, they have to do the same thing. They go through a lot. Title insurance. Why do you need to get title insurance? I'll let Jennifer talk about that. What does title do? Do you know that the title company search the record on a house if it's old, all the way back to 60 years? Just in case if somebody got divorced. Their name's still on the title. Whoever got divorced, they went away. But when you sold that house, they come in and are like, hey, this is my house. What are you going to do about it? Their name is on the house. But title makes sure that there is nobody on it. There is a lien on the house. Khalid went and did some work, and the guy said, Jacob said, oh, I'm not going to pay you. Khalid goes to court, files some paper, said, hey, this house sell, he owed me $10,000. You give me my, and if he sell the house, they will take that $10,000 and they will give it to Khalid before they give it to the seller. So there is so many important things that the title do and the lending do, and you guys need to understand it. Having an agent show you houses, anybody could do that. By having an agent that walk with you and educate you on every aspect of the contract. There is an 81-page contract, and then you have the contingency that could go on and on and on forever. So there is a lot of work. So my beautiful assistant right here, which Juman, she does a lot of work for me, and she goes through a lot. When I call her, she's available, she pick up the phone and answer all the questions I need. She get on the computer, she does what needs to be done. I have another transaction coordinator that does most of the paperwork and keep me updated. I have another admin that does all the work. So there is people involved. When you look and say, oh, I'm working with an agent. Okay, do you know what's going on? No. When you don't know, you don't know. I have another scenario for you. I had a client that came to me that went through a transaction with another agent. We're not going to name names, but went with the transaction. He did not know I was an agent. I was his customer. I walked in, and all hell was broken loose in the place that he owns and all that. And I'm going like, yeah, okay, what's going on? And he looked at me like, I know him for 40 years. I know most of the people for 40 years. So like, what the hell is going on? Why are you screaming? There's customer in the store. And he said, my agent is driving me crazy. Like, why? What happened? And he started telling me about what's going on. the agent was playing games with him. I'm like, it doesn't sound right. Or like, well, he kept telling me he want this and he want that. And like, look, dude, I am an agent. I cannot tell you what he's doing, but something is wrong with this stuff. Let's sit and talk about it. He ignored it and he went with the agent all the way to closing. You know the guy, right? All the way to closing. January 8th, snowing, they already emptied the house. That's the day that they're going to close, Friday. 2 semi-trailer, 10 kids, they were loading up. Called the agent 8 o'clock in the morning. What time is closing? This is how clueless they were. He would not answer the phone. He shows up 8 o'clock at night with his backup, going to that house. Like, why you guys are calling me? Like, we're supposed to move today. We're supposed to close. You didn't tell us anything. Oh, transaction didn't work out. Wallahi lazim. It's a true story. If he was here, he will tell you the truth. There's, and we brought Jacob in, and Jacob worked miracles, and we saved the deal. And believe it or not, when I called him and said, we are closing, and I made sure we are closing on Friday, and Jacob, no, I love to close on Friday morning, then I'm off for the rest of the day. I called him. All what I heard is screaming and crying. And his wife was like, about 8 o'clock in the morning, his wife picked up the phone, and she was like, what happened? Who died? Who died? And you're like, hello, like, hey, we're going to closing. I don't know what's going on in your house. And she said, holy crap, my husband is freaking out. Like, okay, we closed. He's very happy. He's very happy. From that deal, how many deals we got from the same family? 5. His 2 brothers, nephews, cousins, everybody. I'm working with the new one. They called me yesterday. He's looking for a new house. So your agent needs to be straight to the point, giving you all the information that you need. Don't think your agent just shows houses. Learn from them. If you trust them, work with them. If you don't, find somebody else. Interview them. Always interview an agent, talk to them, see what they could do for you. Same thing with your lender. When I interviewed Jacob, I didn't know Jacob from nothing. I picked up the phone, had a conversation with him, and we started talking. And I looked him up. Jacob would work. Gave him the first deal. Fine. I had another company that said no to the same client. I gave him a second one. Same thing. And he works medical. That's why I work with him. I think we closed about 28 contracts together. And I'm very happy. By the way, he's a new father, Abu Yas. By the way, I was the first one to say Abu Yas. So finalizing the paper, you're going to go to closing. You're done. You're ready to go. You make sure your agent's going to tell you what you're going to bring with you. You need to bring your down payment with you. You need to bring your closing cost with you. You need to bring your driver license, and you need to bring your wife with you, Khalil. So you need to be ready. You need to be on time. You should receive before closing. Let's say we're doing it on Friday because I love doing things on Friday. By Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, you should get the Alta, which will tell you how much your house that you're paying for, how much you're bringing in as a down payment, your closing cost, how much you already called the insurance, so you have insurance on the house. If there is a warranty, every single thing that there is on that paper, you need to take a look at it. That's why they send it to you 3 days in advance. You look at it, you make sure everything match. You have an issue with something, pick up the phone and call your agent. Hey, I don't remember you saying anything about this. What is that? Oh, that's the title insurance. We want you to be protected. This is for the inspection. This is for the appraisal. Appraisal, you pay in advance. You do not pay it on on closing day. Everybody have to do appraisal. You don't do the appraisal. If you're buying a house, the bank does the appraisal. They want to be protected. They want to make sure that check that they're signing for you, that house is worth it. So if anything goes wrong, they know their money and the house is worth it. All right, and that's it. You go, you sign. Jamal will come, give you the keys, and congratulations. We'll go to a party. We party hardy, and you start moving. You call my moving company. Unfortunately, they're stuck somewhere, so he could not be there. All right. Why do you buy instead of renting? And I'm going to have Nadia talk about that especially. I'm going to have Jacob talk about it. Building equity. Most people, how many people here pay less than $3,000 in rent if you're renting? I know you're not. You pay less? 25? Okay, let's go with 2,500. You're single, I don't care. Okay, 25. You're paying $30,000 a year. Okay, $30,000 a year in rent. What do you get out of it? And you walk away. 10 years, that's 300,000. $300,000. Who had, was talking to somebody the other day that was there for 17 years renting. Rent goes up every month. Not every month, I'm sorry, every year. And right now in the market, I get phone calls. I want a townhouse, 4-bedroom for $2,200. Good luck. You could not even get one in Winchester. I want it for $1,600. You can't. Right now, rent went up approximately between 7 all the way to 30%. People don't care. There is no housing. Inventory in the market for rental, there is none. And you will go through a hard time just getting qualified for a rental. I had a house in Centerville, 4-bedroom, was listed for $2,750. My client had loved it. I picked up the phone, I called the agent and said, hey, how we doing? Do you have any offers? Because my client liked the house, he's very qualified, we're gonna put an offer. Please don't bother. Like, why? He said, I got 376 offers. 30 of them were over the asking price. The house went for $3,500, from $2,750 to $3,500. People cannot find housing. There is houses that's sitting on the market. You look at them, they're sitting there. I went to some houses. I would not even. I opened the door. I would not even let my client go in there. They're not worth it. There is a couple of houses in Woodbridge that they've been on the market for almost a year. I went to on the first one. I opened the door. My client was there. I'm like, we're not going in. We're leaving, because it's not worth it to embarrass myself in front of my client. I'm like, hey, old pictures, whatever, fake pictures, whatever. It did not work. So building equity is very important in when you have a house. $300,000, you probably have about $90,000 to $120,000 in equity in the 10 years. You could sell your house. You have whatever the price went up on the house, plus the equity that you already built in there. You could take that down payment or take everything you came in and buy a house. You don't have to worry about financing. Forget about Jacob. Just pay for it. Or you could divide all that profit that you made, including the equity, divide them in half, and become an investor. Leave the house, buy 2. I know somebody that have 32 houses, townhouses, and he started with one about 20 years ago. He rent and keep rolling. Take one, take the equity, buy another one. 2 years, take the equity and buy more. That's what he does. He sits at home and he just buy houses, fix them, rent them. That's what he likes to do. I don't. I got out of it. I do not. Tax advantages, your interest rate, your depreciation. That's something Nadia will talk about. Everything that you have in there, you could get tax credit on it. So flexibility, your house, you could do whatever you want inside your house. Outside your house, it depends on the HOA. Now let's talk about that. HOA put some rules on what you need to do outside the house. But inside the house, you could take walls down, make the rooms bigger, make the kitchen great, change the appliances. Nobody's going to say anything. And rental, you're not going to be able to do that. If you want to change something, you're going to call the landlord. My dryer is not working. Okay, I'll be there in 6 weeks, or 2 weeks, or 1 week. My fridge is not working. Okay, I'll be there in a week or so. What are you going to do for food? But if you have rental insurance, you could call your rental insurance, get some credit for it. When you have your own house, you're very stable. You could have anybody you want to come to your house. Nobody's going to say anything. In a rental, you're allowed 14 days. And if they're not on that lease and they find out, somebody's going to be in deep trouble. So you have a house. You're making money. You're building equity in the house. You're happy. It's yours. Nobody's going to knock on the door and say, hey, we need the house. We're increasing the rent. We're selling it, whatever. This is your house. It's make your own decision. Next one, please. All right. This is a first home buyer that I got about in June. This gentleman called me. He's renting in Alexandria, 2-bedroom, $2,900. He started paying rent. Like, Nader, I need to do something. What could you do for me? Sit down, talk to them, went through lending, find out the guy is a veteran. He was in the military. He got special financing that they will offer. Veteran in the United States, they get special treatment different than regular people because they served in the military. Said, okay, what are you looking for? Like, I need a $450,000 home. Okay, sounds good to me. What do you want to be? I will, like, I'm being Woodbridge. We went to look at Woodbridge about 450 for everything he described. He did not like some of them. The wife did not like the rest. So, like, what do you guys, your work, most of the time you're at home. Could you schedule yourself 5 days at home? He said, yeah, I get out because I need to go see some people. Otherwise, all my work is at home. He said, okay, how about we go look at the new build? So I took him all the way to Winchester. We bought him a 5-bedroom house, 4,000 square foot, fully done. He was the first owner to walk in. His payment went from $2,900 to $3,136. It's a brand new house. His dream was to get a townhouse. It's a single family home. He did not communicate everything to me, but we got to the point where he started communicating more and more. His payment went up $136. If he was in Woodbridge and God did not tell me about the veteran and all that stuff that we could get him, I got him almost $40,000 for I got him the closing costs, I got him discounts from the builder. Literally, beside the $5,000, he did not have to put anything in there. And Jonah's here, he's a VA too, and he knows how it works. VA completely works different. By the way, Jonah is here for support. Thank you very much. He was one of the first people that purchased a home. And I would like to tell you about his story, but a little bit later. So could we move to the next one, please? Okay, selling your property. Anybody ever sold a house? All right, yeah, I know your story. Who sold the house? You sold the house. I know my. He doesn't care. He's asleep. All right, very much like buying a house, you need to do the same thing on selling your house. You need to find the right agent that will listen to you about why and how and when you're going to do all that stuff. Yes, ma'am. She's telling me to hurry up. Okay, your agent is the most important part of it. Utilizing the market, I will tell you where this house going to be belong in the price range. Don't come and tell me my neighbor sold it for $2 million and your house is not worth it. I will go make a report. I will sit with you. I will explain every single thing in the report. There's an 81 page or a 27 page. I will bring whatever it takes and explain to them why we should price the house at this level. Okay, there's certain reason that we price the house. If I listen to you, the house is going to sit on the market because trust me, if you know how to sell it, you will sell it by yourself. For the price that you want, most of the time, people go way beyond or way too low. Most of them go way beyond the price because his neighbor sold a $2 million home. He got a swimming pool, he got a gazebo, and he got anything, and you got a 2-bedroom house with no roof. So it's different thing. The market need to understand. You need to understand the market. That's my job. That's my job. That's what I need to do. I need to go do a report, analyze the whole market so I could give you the best price in the market. Okay, cleaning the house. Hello. We're not talking about just going to go mopping the floor and all that stuff. There is, I'm sure everybody's house is clean and all that. But there's sometimes each person is different. You have a lot of stuff or you have no stuff. The walls are green, yellow, and pink. It's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for him. It's not going to work for you. So we're going to tell you what is the best way to go. We call Khalid, say, Khalid, we need to paint it all white, light gray. We'll bring the stager, say, hey, we're going to go with this color. This house will look much better with this one. So we'll go through that, fix the small stuff that we need to. We're not going to spend $1 million on it, except if it needed, but we'll spend a small amount of money to make it more visual and better looking when the client walks in. People want to walk into the house. 99% of the people right now, before they go to the house, they look at his pictures. If I have a house, he did the pictures, they're going to look at it. They're going to love the house, they're going to come to it. If the house, I took my cell phone and start taking pictures sideways and all that stuff, most people are like, it's not worth it to even waste the time. Pictures are great. Having a stager come and take a look at your house, making sure the right things are in the right place, that's sell the house. Having carpet in the bathroom, by the way, it doesn't work. Just kidding. All right. Staging, we talked about that. We're going to list the property. We're going to figure out the price. We're going to come to an agreement on a price. I had in June, in August, had a lady give me a call, said, hey, I need to sell my house. Like, okay, we made an appointment. She gave me the address. That's it. I did everything I need to. I went with the stack of paper, went there, introduced myself. We sat, we talked. We agreed on a couple of things. I told her we need a stager. Beautiful, gorgeous house, I swear to God. But it was packed with stuff, way too much stuff. So there is the house. That's after staging. So we took a lot of stuff out. We don't need to paint it. We need to change nothing. The house was 2 years old. So after having a long conversation, we came up to the price. She said, Nader, I want to list it for $1,010,000. I'm like, no. And she said, what do you mean no? $1,010,000 is not going to bring me maybe 5-6 customers. That's the people who are looking over $1 million. Let's talk about it. Your house, we're going to list it at $999,999, just like selling tomato. By the way, I was in retail for a long time, so everything goes with mine. And she said, why? I said, because I want everybody who's looking under $1 million and everybody who's looking over $1 million to see it. So we called the photographer. We took the photograph after the staging. Beautiful, gorgeous. 2 days. 8 offers. None of them was for the asking price. Every one of them was over the asking price. The one who won, because the house was so beautiful, no financing contingency. That means when they give me that EMD or that escrow money, if the financing did not work, they're going to lose $100,000. No inspection, no appraisal. And to make it a whole lot better, no HOA. Now, for HOA, you could go through the whole transaction and get the HOA paper. You have 3 days. You look at them, you close them, call the agent, say, I don't want the house. Nobody could hold anything against you. You don't like the rules. You read it, you don't read it, who cares? You change your mind. Don't like, that's the only excuse you could do. So they waived everything. $1,060,000. $682,000 down payment. What would you go with? Second one was $500,000 down payment. So we went with the first one. She was very happy, excited, and she wrote a great review. So that's the way it works. You work with your agent, you get what you want. You work on from your head, you're not going to get anything. Ahla wa sahla. All right. After we list the house, showing. You need to be very flexible on showing. You cannot say, oh, I'm going to be home this weekend. The football game is on. My grandmother is coming in. I don't want anybody to come and see it. Well, good luck. Guess what? On weekend, that's when people go look for houses. Oh, by the way, my kids get from school about 4 o'clock. I don't want any showing after 4 o'clock. Guess what? People get off at work at 5 o'clock. They want to go see the house. They don't have time on the weekend. They're going to come see it. They have all the way to 9 o'clock. Be flexible. Work with your agent. If it's late and somebody called it, let them put you on show time so you will see what's going on. When somebody requests a showing, it will come to your phone. You could say no, please reschedule. Or you could say yes and let them come in, take the kids out and go Chuck E. Cheese. Or bring them to Mundar's house. He's very happy to see kids in there. All right, after you get the offer, sign the paper, you are now free of the house. Now, to go back to the buyers, the day you go to closing. That's very important for a lot of people that they do not know. The day you close on your house, that means the day you're going to put the down payment and the closing costs and sign and get the key. The most important thing to do that day is your agent need to take you to the house and walk through the house, make sure this is the right house. This is the house that you saw. This is the house, everything is still there. Nobody took all the appliances out, the windows, the walls, and somebody's laughing, so they know. It happened. I have somebody that I know was not my client, that I saw them. I know them for 4 years, but I got with them in a funeral, and we were talking like, what happened? Literally, he worked with an agent that went, signed on the paper, and took him to a completely different house. No lie. The guy stayed there for 6 weeks, took off, because there was no walls, half of the roof was gone. It happens. That's why you need to interview your agent. You need to look them up. You need to look about that information. All right, so you signing the document, you're out of the house. If you got a free month, by the way, the lady I sold for $1,060,000, I got her 2 months free rent to stay in the house because she was moving to Africa. So she didn't have to pay nothing for 2 months. And they were very happy to say, yeah, we want, that's how beautiful the house and that's how great it is. Go. This is the house, and this is Ashraf work. Drone. Beautiful neighborhood. He took the time to do everything we need to, and making sure that before you come to the house, that you see it, you get there. I had people as far as Baltimore coming there. We could not even let them in the house because they just want to come into the house. I'm like, no. Lady was, she has special situation, upper level government, lots of things happening. And like, no, certain people she went in there, they came in. Otherwise, you have to have a 24-hour lead to come and see the house. And that's why it's sold in 2 days. Okay, let's talk about investing in real estate. This is very important. A lot of people ask about it. You have a lot of tax advantage in it. If you own a house, a townhouse that you've been living in for 25 years, as a real estate agent, I'm going to advise you one thing. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. Your payments is probably $1,500, $1,600 that you could afford it, and you could afford to buy another one. Flip it to a rental. It's income. Call Jacob. You already have doubled your income, and you could buy another house, whatever house you want. But keep it, and keep it for the kids. Don't sell something that you could afford for 6, 7 years that you're paying $1,500, and right now people are paying $4,000 for the same house. You could rent it for that much. So think about what you want to do. If the investment is in your blood and you want to get into that market, that's what you need to do. Plus take the tax advantages. The house depreciate. You will talk to Nadia. She will explain to you how to take all that deductions out. Leverage and cash flow. You're letting the tenant pay the mortgage. What else do you want? Plus, you're getting $1,000 to $1,500 in your pocket every month that you're paying on the new house. So anytime that you have a house that the payment is this much and you know you could afford it, don't sell it. As a real estate agent, I'm telling you, I would love to make the commission, but that would be really stupid on my part telling you, let's sell it. What do you want it for? Let's go get you another house and I'll get double commission. No, keep it. If the payment you could afford it, keep it. Work with it. Rent it. In 7 years, 8 years, it's your house. Give it to the kids. Kick them out of the house, go to college. Get the hell out of here. Go live in there. I don't want to see you anymore. The doctor would love that. All right. Next one, please. You can invest in residential. That means a single family home, a townhouse, multiple unit. Jonah got one of them already, 4 units. Some of that, there is something I will let Jacob talk about it called a CDR loan for a multiple unit, 4. You could actually live in one and rent the other 3, let them pay the mortgage, and you live for free. You're living for free. There's many people that don't know that. If you want to get in investing, that's something you need to look at.
How much more expensive than the...
They're not. They're not. Honestly, people think that they're expensive. I have one in Winchester I was looking at the other day. I think it was about a 4-unit for $575 or $750. I'm not really sure. It's been a while since I looked at it. Well, like about a couple of weeks ago. I do not remember them, but they're not that expensive. You could rent each one. I know one of them was rented for $1,800 and one for $1,600 because it's smaller. I don't remember the third one, but that's the way it is. Your mortgage is going to be about $3,000 for this. You have 3 units to rent. You're already making $1,500 or let's say $1,000, and you're living for free. It goes with the mortgage. You're already renting it for $3,000. The property tax get paid. It depends on the city. No, it's not. It's not. And if you want a vacation, you go to the beach. Hey, I have one of my clients bought one in Ocean City. And this is something really you need to look at. It's a condo, okay? Let's say a condo in Ocean City. How much do you think a condo in Ocean City is worth? Right on the beach. Huh? How much? $400,000. People think it's in a million, but the condo fee on it is very high. It's like $1,100, $1,200. But he goes there for 3 weeks a year, take his wife and kids, his family, and they go, they enjoyed it for a week. But it's being rented from the beginning of spring all the way till the end of fall. Average weekend, it's $6,000. How much is your payment? $3,000? And he got a management company that is taking care of it. You could pay it in 2 years, and you don't have to worry about it. That's the stuff that people need to start looking at if you want to get an investment. Go. Okay, let's talk about the market, and I'm going to make it very quickly because I need everybody to not get bored. Okay, the market. There is inventory coming into the market. Market was literally empty of houses. We had 27 to 29, 30 offers on the same house because people need housing. Right now, people are selling. Houses are coming, but there is a problem. In North Virginia, there is 24,500 houses that they're short. 24,500 short only in North Virginia. Shortage. That means there's more people, but there is no houses. Okay? So if we get all the builders together in North Virginia, it will take them 3 years to build all these houses. By the time they finish, you probably need about 50 more thousand. For the last 15 years, all the inventory in the United States has just been going down. They need a long time to recover from that. So prices, an average between 2 to 7%, they're going to be going every year up. If you think there is a crash coming up, good luck. There is no crash. There is so much demand on housing right now. I cannot find literally people houses right now. It's very hard for rental or for buying. That's one of the things we're running to. And people think, oh, I see houses that they're dropping the price. Yeah, go look at them. I go to neighborhoods. The house is $1 million. The one right next to it, it's $1 million, but it's not worth $800. So nobody's going to buy it. And the owner, this is the problem. The owner thinks, oh, well, he sold for $1 million. I want to sell for $1 million. Well, good luck. Your house is not worth $1 million. You need to bring Khalid in there and start tearing everything up and fix it for about $200,000 to bring it up. So that's where people start working on. In October in Virginia, the housing, existing home sale, 8,732 home. 12 and a half. Okay, the median price is $415. That covers the whole Virginia. Okay, pending sales 8,054. New listing 11,792. That number never was there before. The biggest number I saw before the last couple of months when things are changing was 3,000. Thank you, Baba. Active inventory 20,000. North Virginia active that they were there out for me to look at and tell my client, they were not even 5,000. Things are going up, but you want a house different than what he wants. Everybody want a different house. And the condition of a house need to meet your demand. You need to meet the demand of your family. So there's so many things that involved on the inventory. And there is, I'm going to tell you this, and Jacob probably agree with me. Crash, good luck. I have about 2-3 friends of mine. One of them is Abdul Wahab, owe me $1,000. For the last 3 years, it's going to crash. Good. It's not going to crash. Interest rate going to go down, price going to go up. Interest down goes down, price go up. You wait for this market, for the crash, you're going to be paying more for houses. The more you wait, the more you pay. If you're in the market, you could afford it, buy now, refinance later. Get the 6.5%, in a year or so, refinance again. Get the 550. It's going to sit about 575, 6, and it's not going to go lower than that. But that's another story. That's for the mortgage people. Very much that's it. Manassas in October. I don't have my paper, but in last October, Manassas City, 13% month after month after month. People are moving away from the city back. People right now moving away from even Manassas and Gainesville and Haymarket and going to Winchester, Front Royal. A lot of people doing work at home. It's going to change, and you're going to have a lot of people from there coming back here. They're not going to find houses. So the government and Trump going to change their mind about putting everybody back to work in the offices because they're not going to travel. People in the federal government going to be driving left and right because they're not going to be able to drive that hour and a half. And the government have to change their mind. You got 750,000 federal government employees in this area alone. How many people do you think Trump is bringing into the office in January 2nd?
Well, thanks for everybody for coming today. I really appreciate it. And it's nice to see that many faces here. I'm Jacob Jaboury. I've been in the mortgage business for almost 20 years. I run a branch with 3 different loan officers, 2 processors and an assistant. Been in Northern Virginia for about 28 years. So this is really home for me. Originally from Lebanon. I came here at a young age. And my background is really business management and finance. I went to school here at George Mason. And today, what I would like to know is how many people here never bought a house before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anybody else? Did I miss 6? Okay, great. And how many here have bought a house and sold a house and just trying to get more information? Okay. Is everybody here a renter currently or maybe looking to sell and buy? Okay. Okay, great. So what we're going to go over today is basically the basics of buying a home. I'm going to basically treat it as a first-time home buyer programs. What does basically the process start to finish involves? And what do we look for beyond credit, assets, and income, and how we basically come up with those calculations? All right, so let me see. There's a lot of different things that goes into it. What is an FHA loan? What's a DTI, which stands for debt to income ratio? A jumbo loan versus an adjustable rate mortgage. LTV, which stands for loan to value. USDA, fixed rate, and VA. So practically those are all kind of descriptions, either the loan program or how we calculate your income versus your debts. So what we really look for is 3 different things. Credit is 1, income, is it full-time or part-time, and basically how much money you're looking to put down. So when it comes to debt to income ratio, that's when we look at your current liabilities, or you pay every month, and that's only the things that show up on your credit report, which car payment, credit cards, student loans. Those are the things that we look for, anything on the credit report. And we take all that obligations that you have a month, let's say about $1,000 a month between credit cards, car payments, and maybe personal loans. And then we take on what your upcoming mortgage is going to look like. We take a number. Let's say you come to me and say, I don't have no idea what I qualify for. And I basically go back and say, how much of a house are you looking for? 4-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 5 bedrooms? And then let's say you're looking for 5 bedrooms. And most 5 bedrooms probably going to start at $700, right? So we'll start with that number, okay? And then I ask you for how much money you're looking to put down. And we'll put that as a down payment, let's say 100,000. So basically you're borrowing 600. And that on that $600,000 loan, that payment is probably going to be about $4,500. Okay? So if you are looking to pay $4,500 and your current obligation is $1,000, that means your total obligation is now $5,500. Now that's where debt to income ratio come in. So I will take that $5,500 and then I divide that by what your gross monthly income. And hopefully it's at least $12,000, because otherwise you're going to be able to qualify. Because that number cannot be more than 50% of your income, which means that $5,500, you have to be making at least $11,000 a month to be able to qualify for that property. Okay? Everybody with me? Okay. So if your income, let's say, is $9,000, that means we have to reduce the price. You know, we have to go from 700 probably to 500 or 550. And that's how I come up with a number that you can qualify for, right? And that's after I pull your credit, after I check your W-2s and income, or at least you tell me truthfully what they are on your loan application, and I issue you a pre-approval letter. Okay? Now, as far as the different loan programs, you have an FHA loan. It's basically it's a federal housing administration backed by the government. That's one of the first-time homebuyer programs that you can qualify for. You have jumbo, that's for anything over $1 million loan. PMI is a mortgage insurance that you have to have on a loan if you put anything less than 20% down. Are you guys familiar with mortgage insurance? Anybody question what mortgage insurance is? Okay, so anytime you're buying a house and you put in less than 20% down, the lender requires you to have mortgage insurance. It's an insurance for the lender to be able to recoup some of the money in case you foreclosure, because your equity right up front is much less than what they will like it to be. They like 20% down or more, because if you default, they can sell this house real quick for at least 90, 95, maybe even 100. Get all their money back. And they still have 20% of your money in their account. But if you only put in 5% down, and let's say the market changes, and you foreclose 2 to 3 years later, and this house is only worth about 90%, that mortgage insurance will cover that 5% between the 5% you put down and the 90% that they sold the home for. So they're not losing any money. Okay? If you put 20% down, you don't have to have it. Did I cover your question? Okay, great. His question is, if I'm buying something over $829, do I have to put 20% down? No, not necessarily. We can do 10% down all the way to up to $1.2 million. 10% down. Now, mortgage insurance is expensive because the larger the loan, the more risk we have, right? So, you know, if you go way beyond, let's say 1.2, then you probably have to put 20% down, because a lot of times it's also driven by your credit score. You know, somebody buying 1.2 at 720 credit score is probably has to have 20% down. But if somebody has 800, probably could do it with 10% down, because mortgage insurance works a little bit different than us, because we as lenders, we don't own the mortgage insurance companies. Mortgage insurance companies are separate entities. And there's 5 of them out there. So depends on what they like or what their guidelines are. So to answer your question is, yeah, you can put less money down. It just really depends on your qualifications.
But if he put less, instead of 20, let's say he put 10%.
Correct.
He will be assessed PMI, but less amount than if he had 20%, right?
Yeah, well, you don't have PMI if you put 20%. If you put 10%,
If you put less,
right,
you will be assessed some PMI.
you will have to have a PMI, correct.
Yeah, they will force you to pay for PMI, but of course, the more you put down, the PMI
It's less expensive.
will be
Correct. Yes, absolutely. The more money you put down, the less it is costly to you. Correct. Okay? LTV, you probably hear that increment a lot. That's a loan to value. That's basically how much you put down versus how much you're borrowing. So you put 10% down, your loan to value is 90%. Okay? USDA loan, let me just go over one. USDA loan is one of the rural housing loans that you can take on in case you're buying a house that is further out away from the city. That's what a USDA loan is. You can go in details. A VA loan is for veterans, and we went over the FHA loan. Let me go over adjustable rate mortgage real quick. Adjustable rate mortgage is when you're taking on a loan that is fixed only for the first 5, 7, or 10 years. Are you guys familiar with an adjustable rate mortgage? No. Okay. So your standard loan is 30 years. You can also take on a 15 if you can afford the payment, but obviously the payment is going to be higher. But an adjustable rate mortgage is usually fixed for either 5. There is a 3, but it's not what I sell. I usually work with 5, 7, and 10, just because it gives you enough time to be able to refinance out of it after that period of time. And the rate is usually a little bit lower than a 30-year fixed mortgage in most cases, not at this current market. When COVID was around, for example, rates were low, the adjustable rates were lower. But now that the market is volatile, it's not that much slower. So for example, if the 30-year is going for 6.75%, you could probably get a 5-year ARM, let's call it an ARM, adjustable rate mortgage, for 6.25%. Now the rate is only fixed for the first 5 years. After that, it's going to adjust yearly all the way up to 1% per year. Okay? So it's really one of those loans you really want to refinance out of it. Question?
Why me as a customer or investor, I want to go for 5 years
Right.
interest?
Sure.
Job. What is this will benefit me?
It will benefit you by taking on a lower rate. Okay, that's 0.5%. Some people are very rate sensitive, monthly payment sensitive, right? So they want to be able to get the lowest monthly payment possible. Hoping in 5 years, they either sell or refinance out of that loan. Maybe they're not going to be here for a long time. This is maybe 2 to 5 years property that they're either going to move into a bigger house or maybe sell it and buy another house, period. So that's where the ARMs are, favorable.
Is there any kind of penalties or fees for refinancing?
No penalties for taking on an ARM or any other programs.
Nothing in the closing cost, no hidden fees, just a straight.
No.
You refinance after 2 years?
Yes, absolutely. You can refinance after 1 year if you want to. Right.
Would there be a PMI with the ARM?
Yes, there is a PMI in every loan, practically, except the VA loan, which is for veterans, but everything else has a PMI. Correct. It depends on the down payment. All right? Sure, go ahead.
Do you guys still have interest in
Yes and no. That's a whole other subject. Yes, you could get an interest-only loan, but it's very hard to obtain. Let's put it that way. Very hard to obtain. Okay?
You talked about these government-backed loans.
Correct.
And there is all have PMI except the VA.
Correct. VA is for veterans. They make it easier to obtain and cheaper.
Can you get rid of them if the house, the price of the house goes up?
Yeah, good question. So the question is, can we get rid of mortgage insurance? On a conventional loan, which is not an FHA loan and is not a VA loan, it's a conventional loan, which is your practical, private mortgage. Yes. Now, mortgage insurance has to stay on a property for at least 2 years. Even if you gain equity, even if you dump a lot of money into the principal, you still have to have it for at least 2 years. After 2 years, you can have an appraisal done on the property after you contact your lender, and they will charge you for it. Usually it's like $600. They will send an appraiser out, make sure the property is worth more, and if it does have 20% equity or more, then you can get rid of it. Now, another way to get rid of it is to wait until you pay down your balance to 78%. They don't care about 80. They like 78. and then, but also after 2 years, and then you can get rid of the mortgage insurance automatically. FHA, you cannot get rid of the mortgage insurance. FHA loans have mortgage insurance even if you put 20% down. The only reason why you'll take on an FHA loan is if you have a lower credit score. Things on your credit that may be stopping you from taking the conventional loan, but it's mortgage insurance are there for life, unless you've refinanced into a conventional. Let's say the house worth 400, and they have a $200,000 loan on it. Okay, is it a divorce situation or it's a regular one? So why does she wants to be on the loan?
Sometimes the men, you need to listen to all of that. The men didn't like more borrowing.
More what?
More borrowing, more investing.
Oh, okay.
Women, most of the time, they need to grow bigger and invest more.
Okay.
If this situation is for me and my husband, and I want to take part of this equity
Okay.
to reinvest,
And you are on the deed.
I am on the
Okay, why don't you just take a home equity line of credit?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, you are an owner of the property, so you can take on a second mortgage and avoid having to refinance. How do you do that? Just apply with me? I'm sorry?
And you have to start paying as a regular loan.
Yes,
Or
it's.
because I read about that.
Mhm.
There's a couple of alternatives. One of them, you can take part of the equity.
Yes.
And the company will take it out when you sell the house.
The company will take it out when you sell the house. Yeah, you have to pay it back, obviously. I mean, if you sell the property.
Pay it back regularly. or
Yes,
pay it
it's
back
it's
when
a
you sell the house.
no. You have to pay it back regularly. The one you're talking about is when you take out an equity and you're over 65 years old. It's a total different loan, where you basically pay it back only when you sell the property. But when you take out a home equity line of credit, it's basically a second mortgage on the property. But you can do it if you're on the deed. You can totally do it.
You have 10 years equity in
Uh-huh.
the house.
10 years?
10 years, for example.
Okay.
You have down payment already. Like for me, for example, I bought the house, I have down payment,
Uh-huh.
I stay like 10 years. I want to take the equity and buy another property.
Sure.
How the process goes? Like, is it like considered as a loan? by
Yes.
now?
Yes. It's just a home equity line of credit. You can do that.
So what's the difference? I can take the loan and come back.
For all that.
You can take a loan.
Yes.
Why can't you take a loan?
It's the same thing, like go to the bank and take loan. So why it's under equity? What's the advantage of taking equity? What's the difference?
Tax advantages, and I'm sure she will tell you about that, because if you go to the bank and take out a loan, okay, to buy a house, okay, one thing is that you cannot take out a loan to buy another loan. So you can, but you'll have to wait at least 3 months, and we don't have to find out about it. So a lot of people come to me and say, I don't have money for down payment. I'm short about 5, 6,000, whatever. Can I borrow from my credit card? No, you can't do that, because I already know what you have. Now, if you go borrow from 5 different credit cards and come to me 3 months later, I will not know that, because those large deposits that have been showing up in your bank account, I won't question anymore. But if you pull them within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to question them, right? So that's a thing. I mean, you take out the equity for one reason, is that if you want to buy another property, now you have 2 mortgages on the property, so you have two write-offs, right? And then you're actually also going to have a lower interest rate than going to the bank and taking a personal loan. Personal loans are probably like 19%, 15 to 19%. You take out a home equity, it's probably about 8 to 9%. 8 to 9%. 8 to 9%.
What is behind the 5 year?
Oh, it's called a reverse mortgage. It's called a reverse mortgage. If you have a house that is paid off and you take out money on it, paid off, yeah, and then you don't have to pay it back, basically, until you sell the house.
Probably somebody is 65 or older, but
Correct. Well, they don't take that loan.
For the equity.
Yeah.
Cash refi.
They can't take out the loan that you're talking about. They don't pay back. They can take out a loan, but they have to pay it back on a monthly basis, just like anything else. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Could you do me a favor? Let's hold the questions for when we finish. We're gonna have lunch. We'll take a break for about 10 minutes. We can talk to them after that. Let them finish. Let's hold the questions for a little bit. Go ahead.
All right, cool. The process. So the first thing is getting you pre-approved. All right. So pre-approved is when you make a loan application. Anybody familiar with like شو بكون? Okay. Does anybody familiar with pre-approval and a pre-qualification? No? Okay. A pre-qualification is when I ask you a few questions and I say, okay, based on what you're telling me, your income is X, your debts is Y, and your credit is Z. Sounds like you can buy a house. Okay? That's a pre-qualification. It's verbal, it's not guaranteed. A pre-approval is when you go on my website and you fill out a loan application and you upload your W-2s, your pay stubs, and anything else I need, bank statements, copy of ID, so forth, so on. Okay? And I'll process it and I give you an actual pre-approval letter because it's a solid pre-approval at that point. Okay? 1099 is a little bit different. As long as you've been doing it for over 2 years, then that's when we can really count it. But 2 years. 2 years. W-2s doesn't matter. You can go from one job to another as long as you've been working for the last 2 years. Okay? After the pre-approval, you go house hunting. Basically, I'll give you a pre-approval letter, copy your realtor, and you guys are ready to go. Off their horse races. You make an offer is the third step. Number 4, you have your home inspection. After you get under contract, obviously. You schedule your home inspection with Nادر will take care of that. That usually happens within the first 5 days of getting under contract. And then, meanwhile, we send you loan disclosures for you to sign so we can order your appraisal and order your title. Okay? Appraisal fee is the only fee you pay up front with me, unless it's a condo. If you're buying a condo, you also have to pay for something that's called a condo questionnaire, which is every lender requires when you're buying a condo, because we need to know that the condo project you're buying into, a lot of different things. Do they have reserves? Is there a lawsuit going on? How many renters versus, how many people rent out versus own and live in it? So it's a questionnaire that gets sent out to every single condo project if you're buying a condo. And the condo association will determine how much is that, and we pass on the fee to you. And it's usually about $400 to $500. Okay? Once you order your appraisal, you already signed your loan disclosures. We send your loan to underwriting. And the title work obviously is in the process. And once the loan is approved, the processor is kind of a middleman between me and the underwriter. She will be asking you for anything that the underwriter has requested. So basically they say is your loan is conditionally approved. It's not fully approved, it's conditionally approved based on you providing these certain documents. Maybe an updated pay stub, maybe a bank statement, maybe they question some names on your credit report, things like that. Okay. Oh, the closing is next, obviously. Once we have all the conditions satisfied, and the underwriter basically gives you the final approval, and you're clear to close. That's your favorite word is going to be to hear because you're done. It's CTC. We call it clear to close. You're good to go. You're done. You're going to closing.
So Jacob, is it a must to have the buyer insurance? We have the lender insurance, but I see that always optional.
Yes.
Like,
it is.
If you are protected as a lender, why am not protected? You have the insurance. Why should I buy it?
I'm going to let Jennifer cover that because she's the title company, but he's asking about a closing cost fee that gets listed on your final paperwork, but she can cover that for you. Okay. Is that the next slide? I'm surprised it is. Okay. Okay. So I guess when we pre-approve you, there's how much you can afford, what your monthly payment is going to look like, the amount necessary for a down payment. I think we already went over that. Yeah. Okay. For the pre-approval docs, once you make a loan application online, some of the things I will be requesting from you based on how you get paid. If you're a W-2 employee, you get paid every 2 weeks, every week, every month. I'll ask you for pay stubs, the W-2s. If you're 1099, I'm going to ask you for your 1099 forms along with your tax returns, full complete tax returns for the last 2 years. If you pay child support, do you receive child support or alimony? I will need paperwork on that. And trust me, we will know. I've had people just not mention that they pay child support. They will find out. VA certificate, that's if you're a VA loan for veterans in the military. And establish your SSP. Basically, kind of establish kind of the things that you're working on, which is inspection and so forth. Okay. House hunting. There's 2 different agents that'll be working with you. Your buyer's agent, who's going to be a Nádor, and that's the person that works with you to find you the home. And there's going to be another agent that I'll be working with as well, is the listing agent. The listing agent is the person who's selling the property. I'll coordinate with him to get the appraiser out there and make sure that we keep everybody updated. Okay, you made an offer. And offers are based on comparables in the area. Does anybody know what comparables are? Right. So any properties that have sold compared to your house that you're looking to buy. And that's how you determine if the property is worth what you're paying for it, if other properties have sold the same amount. It's all based on also home condition, how long it's been on the market, financing terms, what is the seller's conditions. Some sellers, like Nader mentioned, that they're looking for maybe a month rent for free. They want to stay in the property. Those are kind of some of the conditions the sellers have. Yeah, all right, next. Earnest money deposit. Anybody does not know what earnest money deposit is? Everybody knows what earnest money deposit? No? Okay, earnest money deposit is to let the seller know you're a committed buyer. So when you do write an offer, you also have to write a check for usually anywhere between 1% to 2% or even more of the sales price. The bigger your earnest money deposit, the more solid your offer is. Okay? It will go toward your down payment. So keeps the buyer from backing out, helps fund your down payment, goes toward the down payment and closing cost. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Explore some of the common more loans options out there. We kind of went over some of the loans earlier. So, anything else after that? Okay, my credit is good and I have a down payment, right? We're already halfway there, right? So, what's next? Conventional loans. Conventional loans, what I mentioned earlier, which is your everyday loan, unless you have to go with FHA, but conventional is kind of preferable loan because one is a private loan. You don't have to pay any additional fees to take on a conventional loan like you do with FHA. I'll go over that in a little bit. Mortgage insurance is cheaper with conventional than it is sometimes with FHA if you have great credit scores. Your minimum down payment is 3% as a first-time home buyer. Okay? And if you're not a first-time home buyer, it's 5%. Any questions? All right. I'm looking for a house in the rural community. We went over the USDA loan. USDA loan is another government-backed loan that if you're buying in a rural community, which means it's like an hour away from the city, and they have their own categories of where. So if you look at properties in that area, you can go all the way up to 100% financing on a USDA loan.
So if you want to buy a farm, that's what
Yep.
you need.
Some, like he was mentioning Winchester earlier. Winchester has some rural areas. Front Royal has some rural areas. You know, some of these areas will allow you to go to 100% financing on a USDA loan. PMI is cheaper. It's much cheaper than it. Yeah, you still have it, but it is cheaper on this. Okay. I'm searching for a low down payment option. FHA loan does give you a 3.5% down payment. It can go up to 100%, either buy a gift or you can take on a second mortgage for the 3.5%. Did you guys know that? No? Okay, so FHA loan requires you to put 3.5% down payment, but you can actually get a second mortgage for 3.5%, so you don't have to put any money down. Okay? Something to just, you know, keep in mind. It is for less than perfect credit qualifications, as I mentioned earlier. It's a fixed rate. They don't come in arms. And it's only for primary residents.